I'm Havilah Malone.
And I am Regina Carver.
And welcome to this edition of ReThink
Uncut.
ReThink Uncut, where we question life from different points of view. So many people go through things on a daily basis. And sometimes there's like certain events within our lives, could even be like traumatic events that then have some type of residual emotional effect on us. And we see that show up in people's lives in a lot of different ways. And one way that we see in a lot of different cases is not the ability of not letting go of things, which sometimes turns into the even bigger problem of becoming a hoarder.
So we're going to talk about clutter and hoarding. Interesting.
Very much.
So some things that come to mind when I think of clutter and hoarding is not so much of what's going on mentally. I'll talk about just the things like laying around on my desk, or maybe clothes in a corner that I need to wash or something like that. When I walk into that space, it just feels like it's this imaginary string attached to these things, and it's just draining me of energy. Like I can't think in the space, which is an indication that I really need to think about what's going on mentally that's stopping me from clearing a space or making sure there's something I'm not holding on to mentally. Because really the way I look at it, it's really a reflection. When I look at the things around me, it's a reflection on what's going on internally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like all the unfinished business. That saying that a cluttered room means a cluttered mind. Your external world is a reflection of your internal world on so many different levels. And I know, like for me personally, I've definitely, well, first of all, there's some areas in my house that need to be cleaned up right now. So just, I am one of the guilty parties. But there's been times where I literally I could not let go of things. It's because there were like the story behind them, or the reason why, like there was some emotional tie that I had to it, whether it was because of, well, I know if a lot of people are familiar with my nonprofit organization, Everybody Loves Barbie. And I literally had collected over 300 Barbie dolls over a 20-year period. And I would never open them. Like they just stayed, kind of in their boxes, untouched. And for me, it was because of my not dealing with or breaking my silence behind being molested as a child. And so that was something that I held on to in that form of like collecting the dolls and not opening them and not allowing them to, be moved or messed with, like couldn't be touched. And it was once
pure, right? Like pure and untouched.
Yes, they represented all the things that I wanted for my life and the control that I did not feel that I had. And and I, to a certain extent, lived within a box, but being able to like break that silence, like now, like matter of fact, I had done a video maybe like a week or two ago, and I opened a Barbie doll for the first time.
Oh, wow. How did that feel doing that?
It was emotional. Like there was like my hands were like literally shaking, and it was so wild and then I didn't even realize like how much packaging is on a doll.
Oh, wow.
Inside that box. But it was like finally when I was able to like take her, out, and I even played with her. Like it was so fun, but it was like that process of taking it out of the box and like allowing it to like step into the world was huge. It was huge. And so that was also like kind of a letting go. And the work that I do with the nonprofit for me is like a letting go, and then being able to help other people, break that silence. But sometimes we hold on to, or that manifest in so many different ways for us. And So now I actually use the dolls to be able to help, the next generation. And it's like, it's no longer about holding on to them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a freedom that came with that letting go.
Yeah. And you've actually sold some or auctioned some off for your nonprofit, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. What I like to do when coaching people is to really listen to their stories and hear some of the things that they've been through, because again, just like you're explaining, it's such a mirror or reflection of what's going on in the physical world around them. Everything around them is this reflection of, wow, I've been having these thoughts about some things, and sometimes people don't even realize the connection between the two. And just really having the awareness of that, and being able to say, okay, I can deal with that, can actually help the person just soar to new heights, just being free of how some of these physical things hold you in place.
Mm-hmm. Like, I never realized that my collecting of the dolls
Mm-hmm.
was in correlation to me not breaking that silence,
Mm-hmm.
holding on to that for that 20-year period.
Mm-hmm.
I never made that connection until I got to the point where I did break my silence. And then it was like, whoa, like, okay, this is how this was manifesting in my life, in destructive ways and even in positive ways.
Mm-hmm.
Is how these things that happened were manifesting itself. So it's kind of like we really have to take self-inventory of, what is going on in our lives? Are things going the way that we want them to? Do we have spaces that we're not dealing with, things that we're putting off? Are we, holding on to things? And, if somebody tried to take that from you, would you be attached to it and not be able to let it go? Then being able to ask those deeper questions of what's really going on, because there's some reason why you're connected to that in that way.
You brought up an interesting word, and that is attachment. Being attached could actually cause stress too. Just feeling that you have to hold on to something so tight could actually hold you back from living fully. I have this thing with live life fully, live life fully. But being attached to things can actually hold you back from accomplishing some of the things you want to accomplish. I live in a home now, and my mom lived here with me before her passing, and it's way too big. And I feel like it just holds this space that she was here with me. But really, sometimes when I think about it, she's going to always be with me mentally. So I can really let go of this space and move on to something better, even, and still have her with me no matter what in spirit. So it's amazing how we let the physical things around us hold us back and not realize that they're really representations of what's going on mentally.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful point that you made. And matter of fact, it made me think about, especially being here from New Orleans and having dealt with like Hurricane Katrina and, so many people who lost everything,
Wow.
because of, that devastation. And it was like, okay, you may have one day, had a home that was filled with, stuff or, things. And then the next day, all of that stuff was gone. And so it was like, would you be completely devastated and completely, where you couldn't move forward in life because you lost those things that you were attached to? Or would you be able to, hey, yeah, maybe have that emotion, mourn the loss of those things and move on, knowing that something better was coming?
Yeah, and sometimes we don't get to the point where we get to experience the something better because we don't let go. And what you're speaking to is being forced to let go.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet I'm almost willing to bet that some of the people found themselves in a good place, in a better place maybe, you know?
Absolutely.
But it's this thing with, you never know what's waiting for you out there if you don't let go of the clutter, the things, the hoarding, and all that. And sometimes, even when you're holding on to things, you might not be able to find it when you need it.
You need to find like 12 of them because you didn't know where the other ones were.
It's like, wow, I guess I could have just let it go. If I have to go out and get another one, if the hoarding or clutter is that deep, no pun intended, but if it's that deep and you can't find anything, then what's the point anyway, But still, just going back to really being aware of the connection with what you're thinking mentally and the things that you're holding on to and just the environment that you live in could really free you to awesome heights and create just this new awesome life even.
Being in a clean, clutter-free space, it just has and holds an energy of progress, of clarity, and you feel so good. It's like when you walk into a new hotel room, fresh linen and everything is just place. And it's when you go on vacation, it feels good because you're going into something that's fresh. You can have that every single day within your own space and within your own home. And I highly suggest if you find that you are an individual that has trouble letting go, that don't hesitate to seek help, whether that's from a counselor, from a doctor, whatever you need.
Life coach.
A life coach, absolutely, from a transformational coach. Seek the help that you need so that you can let go. And there's also companies out there that will come into your space and help you to get rid of, the clutter, get rid of. Sometimes it's hard for us to do it on our own, but if you have somebody who can come in and help you put it in that bag, that donation bag or that trash bag to move it on out, sometimes that's helpful too.
And you know what? To even have a friend that's not so emotionally attached to some of the things, because I had someone that was here with me and helped me when it was time to let go of some of my mother's things. It's like, I can't do it. I can't let go. I just can't let go. But to have someone that's more objective there with you and willing to say, okay, you really don't need this, or you know what? How about you take a picture of it? Take a picture of it and just have the picture of it and keep that. But that helps too, to have someone that actually cares but can also be objective. Too, can help work through some things. And again, I can't say it enough, just having the awareness of the connection between what you're thinking and what you're holding on to and the reason why you're holding on to it.
So here's to letting go and hitting new heights.
New heights, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of ReThink Uncut. We would love to hear from you, so you can share your comments with us below or email us at rethinkuncut@gmail.com. I'm Havilah Malone.
And I'm Regina Carver. Thank you so much for joining us again, or for the first time. Thank you. Bye.